I'm Steven McCollum. This is a main event special podcast where we break down the Cardinals games and preview their next games. Week 13 is upon us this week where the Cardinals play the Rams at home. But last week, week 12 comes and goes, and the Cardinals lose a maddening game in New England to the Patriots 20-17, and they fall to 6-5 on the year. Due to the holiday, Thanksgiving holiday, of course, I did the preview of Week 12 game as my new, quote, Big Steve's Thoughts segment that I put out on at the Main Event Pod on Facebook and Twitter. If you follow those, you'll see that, a couple of those a week. Or you can also follow me personally at Twitter at SMAC500. I will retweet it out there as well. Just a quick minute hash there regarding thoughts that come up that can't wait until the podcast or the radio show to come on for me to get those thoughts out. That's what it is. And I used last week's Friday one for the preview of the Cardinals game. And in my thoughts, I did say the Cardinals will start fast. That they did. They did start fast. And they'll have to stop the Patriots' run game and force Cam Newton to beat them. Mixed results on that one. This was definitely a disappointing loss for the Cardinals, and as we have stated here many times on this Cardinals Rewind podcast, the inconsistency the Cardinals bring to each game is going to bite them. It's going to bite them, and it bites them. It bit them in the Dolphins game, and it bit them here today as well. In the Lions game earlier this year. It rears its ugly head, and a game that they should win, they're expected to win. They should win. They have a chance to win at the end, and they don't pull it out. And it's frustrating as all heck. I get it. We'll talk more of that as we go through the podcast here. So I know everybody wants to dwell on the negatives. The Cardinals lost the game. Isaiah Simmons hit there in the fourth quarter. That wasn't an illegal hit. I say it. Rules analysts say it. A lot of other people don't say it. It was just a referee wanted to protect the quarterback, which was the wrong play call as he was a runner, and it was a joke call. But that did have no impact on the finish of the game. Yeah, it got the Patriots a little bit closer to the end zone to kick the field goal to win it. 50-yarder. Cardinals should have had it wrapped up by then. So let's get into some positives. There's a few positives I was able to find in this game, believe it or not. Are there? I mean, the obvious positive, Cardinals defense gets the early interception of Cam Newton. And the offense takes that interception and does what is absolutely essential when you get a turnover to put the dagger into a team. You go down and score. The Cardinals go down and do what I love to see the most. This is what I love about football. You get a turnover, you get a negative play by the other team, and you take it down and score. Cardinals do that. Let's see here. Marcus Golden gets the first interception there. And Cardinals turn that into the Kenyon Drake touchdown to go up 7-0, basically right at the start of the game. Immediately, right off the bat. 7-0 lead. Another positive. Offense controlled the clock. Cardinals offense did. This is something we don't see from this Cardinals offense, guys. They had a 12-play drive. 63 yards. They only got a field goal out of it, but they did have a long drive. We've been watching this all year long, right? Of course, their first time they had the ball was that 3-play, 23 yards. But that was right after that interception. There was no place to go but the end zone there, right? Then the second possession is what I'm talking about. 12 plays, 63 yards. They took 5 minutes, 24 seconds off the clock. They get a field goal out of it. We don't see this from this Cardinals team at all. Their next drive, 7 plays, 19 yards. They do punt on this one, but they took 4 minutes, 6 seconds off the clock. Then at the end of the half, which we're going to talk about here coming up, at the end of the half, they had a 15-play, 71-yard drive. 6 minutes, 57 seconds, folks, went off that game clock. They got no points on that one. Turnover on downs, end of the half. No points. We'll talk more about that in the negative section coming up here. But this is a Cardinals team that we don't see these long drives. We see a lot of 3 plays type drives, which we saw a lot to begin the third quarter, right? which we can get into all that here when we get to the negative section. But they put long drives together. They controlled the clock. One thing we do here as well is we look at time of possession on the field. Cardinals time of possession, 34 minutes, 8 seconds. Patriots, 25 minutes, 52 seconds. It's a positive that the Cardinals put these long drives together. We don't see it. It's a positive that they held on to the ball, drained the clock, gave their defense time to rest. Absolute positive. The other positive, we've already talked about it. Defense got 2 interceptions off Cam Newton. Of course, the first one was the Marcus Golden one that led to the Cardinals' Kenyon Drake touchdown there on the first drive of the game. Great way to start. The second, they're getting these interceptions at points of games that are hugely important. Interceptions are always important, but it's even more so when you get them in the first play of the game and then the fourth quarter. Drake Kirkpatrick intercepts Cam Newton, gives the offense a chance to go down and set up the field goal to take the lead. Of course, that was missed, but they got the ball back, was able to turn the ball over, get it back to the offense, to the opportunity to take the lead in a game, late in a game. Well, if they would have gotten that lead, they probably would have won that game. But he missed the field goal, and from there we went, right? Minute 47 left when he missed that field goal. But it's a positive. Cardinals are getting the turnovers. They got the turnovers when it mattered. Another positive. Cardinals running game had another game over 100 yards. You hear a lot about how the Cardinals running game isn't doing that. Everybody's disappointed in Kenyon Drake and his running. Another game of over 100 yards. Here's a stat for you. Cardinals fans who don't think they're running the ball. Cardinals have had 100 plus rushing yards in 10 of their first 11 games of a season for the first time since 1970. 10 of their 11 games so far this year, they have 100 yards plus rushing. Now, some games, most of that's Kyler Murray. I understand that. This game, it wasn't. This game, Kenyon Drake, 22 carries, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyler Murray, 5 runs, 31 yards. We're going to talk about that here in the negatives coming up. Chase Edmonds, 6 carries, 29 yards for the Cardinals. This game, the Cardinals had possession of this game. They controlled the play calling. They, scored at the beginning of the game, got a 10-0 lead, and then they gave up 17 straight points to the Patriots. Negatives, we have to talk about it, guys, right? I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm getting tired of talking about this. The play calling on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 is a problem. Continues to be a problem. The Cardinals always seem to find themselves in this position and struggle to convert on them, especially in key points in the game. They'll get a random 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, middle of the game when it doesn't matter either way. They're in good field position to do it. But they get turned away a lot in pivotal times of the games where they need it, if they're going to go for it. Case in point, end of the first half. Cardinals had the ball inside the 1-yard line. 4th down. It's the last play of the half. The clock's at a few seconds, right? Regardless of what happens, the half's ending here. Murray lines up in the shotgun, hands the ball off to Drake, who was ruled short of the goal line. Look, he might have gotten in. They ruled it short. You're not overturning that. I actually don't have a problem going for it in this situation. Yeah, you want the points, right? The points ended up being a huge. 3 points would have been huge in that game. But I get going for it there. My argument actually is the play call. Less than a yard to go, literally 6 inches roughly. A shotgun formation, so Kyler Murray's 5-6 yards back from the line of scrimmage. It allows the defense time to react to the runner, who's Kenyon Drake, who's running it straight up the middle. And the Patriots have a linebacker sitting there waiting for him, and they stop it, keep him out of the end zone. Why didn't Murray run this ball? Not necessarily up the middle. Why didn't he fake it up the middle, do a bootleg outside? He would have scored. Kyler Murray wasn't running the ball in this game. We're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. So you have that play call. QB sneak, 6 inches. You can't line up under center and lean forward to get 6 inches. The issue I have with this one is, and we talked about, this play changed the game. This halftime change, the Patriots came out a different team in the second half, and the Cardinals came out a different team in the second half. Changed the game by not scoring right there. So much so that Cliff Kingsbury was asked after the game, I believe it was after the game or it was Monday during the press conference. Kingsbury said that he didn't give much thought to using Murray down there on the goal line Sunday. He's your biggest threat down there, giving you options to run the ball, right? A couple of weeks ago, Cliff Kingsbury acknowledged there isn't a QB sneak in the playbook for Kyler Murray. I get it. Kyler Murray's a small guy. He's short. He's not a big guy. But he can't lean forward for 6 inches. He was asked about it after Sunday's game, and he said, quote, "It's not really our deal right now, and that's kind of what it is," unquote. These plays are huge. These 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1s, if you're going to go for them, they're huge. You have to convert them. Lining up in the shotgun and running your running back up the middle where a linebacker's waiting for you is not the way to convert them. I haven't done the research. It's going to be a lot of research, and I'm not going to probably. But I'm willing to bet you when they convert on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, most of the time it's not running the ball up the middle. It's Murray running outside or Drake running outside. That play changed the game. Absolute negative. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 play calling continues to be an issue with this team. Running it in shotgun, not underneath center, not leaning forward for those 6 inches continues to be a problem, and it changed the game. Another negative. I tweeted this out sometime in the second quarter towards the end of the game, before that touchdown. But I tweeted out, this offense is not the same without the threat of Kyler Murray running the ball. When Kyler Murray does not threaten to run it, the defenses can sit back and tee off. You saw it with the Patriots. They were getting to him, passing the ball. They were able to stay on receivers a little bit longer. Kyler Murray has to have a threat of running the ball in this offense, the way they have it structured. Can it be changed? Probably. But it can't change with the way it's being run right now. While watching the game, I mean, it was apparent, absolutely apparent, that Kyler was protecting himself out there. And what I mean by that is he wasn't running the football. In obvious situations where in the past, he'd pull the ball down, pick up 5-10 yards, and slide. He wasn't even doing that. No desire to run, wasn't looking to run at all. Then, one specific play, when Lawrence Guy came up the middle to sack him untouched, he basically went down, held his shoulder, protected his shoulder. Couple throws he did. He curled up into a ball to protect his throwing shoulder. Make sure they didn't touch it or land on it. So the big question here is Kyler protecting himself because his shoulder still isn't right? It still hurts? It's still not 100%? You wouldn't expect it to be after 10 days off. It's probably still, clicking a little bit. But it begs the question, is that the problem? Is he just protecting it because he doesn't want to get hurt again? He doesn't want to make it worse? Or, and this is out there, folks. This is out there in the Cardinals chatter sphere. Is his shoulder fine and he's afraid to get hit now after he got injured? Is he now afraid to get hit? I've heard several people bring that up. To me, there's no evidence that he's afraid. There's no evidence that he's, afraid to get hit. There's no evidence that he's afraid to get hurt again. But it is something to watch in upcoming games. This offense needs Kyler Murray to run the football. Absolutely needs it. It's a completely different, stagnant offense when he's a pocket passer. The negative we got to talk about next, the receivers. Larry's out of this game, of course, because of COVID. That's fine. But Christian Kirk dropping a easy touchdown in the end zone. Cardinals weren't able to push it in after that, their next 3 plays. I mean, these types of plays are killing this team. Easy drops by players. But the reason I'm not picking on Christian Kirk per se, or I'm bringing up that play specifically to say Cardinals left 17 points on the field this weekend. They should have won the game. Every game they have lost this year, except for the Panthers game, Cardinals, the points that they've left on the field or the points they've directly given to the other teams off of turnovers, meaning Cardinals turn the ball over and then the other team goes down and scores, are the reason the Cardinals have lost these games. The Cardinals are right there at being a really, really, really good team. But their mistakes cost them in these types of games. And great teams, this doesn't happen to. You don't see Kansas City losing that way. You don't see the Steelers losing that way. You don't even see Baltimore losing that way. Baltimore, when they lose, they just get beat. I will say this, though. One positive on that is even with all these mistakes and everything, leaving 17 points on the field, the Cardinals could have won that game. That's what's exciting about it, is they just got to get over that hump, so to speak. So obviously 17 points, I'm counting the end of the half with no points scored. I'm counting this Kirk drop touchdown pass. That should have been an easy touchdown. And of course, I'm counting the missed field goal with a minute, 40 or 47 left in the fourth quarter to take the lead. 17 points they left on the field. It's the NFL. You cannot leave that many points on the field and expect to win these games very often. But something we haven't talked about since the first, the 49ers game, the special teams was huge. And I'm not talking about the field goal unit and the punting unit in terms of them, the punter and the field goal kicker. I'm talking about the units in whole, right? 49ers game began the season. They had the block punt, which turned that game. They had another game right after that, second game, where they had some more special team good stuff happen, right? This is the first game that I can think of. I've done 12 of these now, 13 now. You don't really talk about the special teams much. But this time we have to talk about them. Special teams is directly the reason why they gave up points to the Patriots on there. The special teams units gave up 67 yards, return yards, on 2 punts. Cardinals punted to the Patriots. 2 punts, 67 yards total were returned. Set up some scoring drives for the Patriots. They also, on kickoff returns, they gave up 75 yards on 2 kickoff returns to the Patriots. You're giving people good field position in this game. Patriots did nothing on offense. Nothing on offense. We're going to get to yards here in a second. Nothing on offense the Patriots did, but you gave them that good a field position to where even a bad team can get points out of that if they have no offense. I mean, we just talked about it a little bit, right? Total yards, Cardinals, 298 total yards offense. Patriots, 179. It's not even close. Rushing yards, Cardinals, 138 rushing yards. Patriots, 110. I said in my Big Steve's Thoughts, the preview to the game there, I said Cardinals have to stop the Patriots running game. Make Cam Newton beat you. I mean, they gave up 110 yards, but they did contain him a lot during the day. They needed that number to be lower in order to keep the Patriots from moving down the field. Because I mean, Cam Newton, passing yards was 69. Cardinals for the Patriots. Cardinals had 160 yards passing. It's critical. Absolutely critical. Cardinals, no. Everybody was so mad after this game because the Cardinals shouldn't have lost this game. Just from watching the game, the Cardinals shouldn't have lost it. Then when you go through the stats even more, it's even more infuriating because they shouldn't have lost it even more so. And your numbers are telling you they shouldn't have lost it. This inconsistency of the Cardinals is starting to get to everyone simply because you expect them to be better and to get over this hump, and they have not been able to do it. And it's infuriating. Field goals, we talked about it. Look, I know everybody wants Zane Gonzalez gone. I understand that. You need to make 50-yard field goals. The other team's opponents are making them. The other team's opponents are only making one, though, a game. They're only getting an opportunity for one, maybe two a game. Zane Gonzalez, every field goal is a 45, 50, 50-yard field goal, 55-yard field goal. He went 1 for 2 in this game, of course, made a 47-yard field goal in the first half. Of course, missed a 45-yard field goal with a minute 47, roughly, like I said, left to take the lead in the game. And it allowed the Patriots to go down and kick their field goal kicker, kick a 50-yarder. We've been tracking this all year, folks. Now, those of you that have listened to every podcast, they have a few where they're 25-yard field goals. I haven't added. I'm going to sit down and do the math, which we all know math's not my strong point. But I'm going to do the math. I bet you 80-85% of the Cardinals' field goal attempts are 45 yards or longer. I get it. You're supposed to make them. But field goal kickers miss kicks, guys. I've been harping on this all year. I want to see the Cardinals drive the ball deeper. Stop relying on long field goals like you do. That's all they do is rely on them. And I've said it repeatedly. I've even said it in the Lions game where, I'm sorry, not the Lions game, the Dolphins game, where he left that 50-yard field goal short. I think I said it after that game, where I said, leaving these long field goals all the time and expecting him to hit them every time is going to bite you. It bit you in the Lions game, and it bit you in the butt in this game. That being said, he needs to make them. The problem is you get rid of him, who do you bring in? Middle of a season. There's nobody out there, guys. There are other teams. Yeah, you have Mike Nugent on the practice squad. 38-year-old Mike Nugent. There's a reason he hasn't been called up yet, guys. If you think Mike Nugent's going to come in and all of a sudden kick all these huge field goals, there's a reason he's not called up yet. There's nobody out there. Other teams are struggling worse with field goal units, and they can't do anything different. There's nobody out there. We're stuck with them. It's on the Cardinals' offense to drive the ball a little bit farther. Quit getting conservative when you get to that 45, 50-yard field goal match, knowing that you're going to kick a field goal if you don't convert it. It's costing you games. So Cardinals, as we said, kind of dominated this game stat-wise, time of possession, rushing. Cardinals offense did what we haven't seen ever this year. Two long drives, a 12 and a 15-play drive. Who was that team, right? Good to see. Absolutely good to see. Other stats that you hate to see from this game? If you guys are ready for this one. See how mad people still are, a few days after that win there. Cam Newton became the first starting quarterback to win a game with fewer than 10 completions, fewer than 100 passing yards, 0 passing touchdowns, and 2+ interceptions. Since Brock Osweiler in Week 15 of 2016. That's how bad of a game the Patriots offense had played, and they snuck out a win at the end. Kyler Murray had 0 passing touchdowns in a game for the first time since Week 13 of 2019. This offense isn't clicking, and it stopped clicking when Kyler Murray got injured in that Seahawks game. This is game 2 now. So, with all of this being said, right, we got a lot of negatives in this game. There's a lot of anger involved in this game. The Cardinals should have won it. They didn't. They're 6-5 on the year. We're expecting them to be at 7 wins right now. I don't know. Maybe we're giving the Cardinals too high of expectations. They are a young team. Like I said, second-year head coach, second-year quarterback. Sometimes you have to learn to win in this league, and maybe that's where the Cardinals are at. We all know we're going to have games like we had on Sunday, but we're to the point now. Last year, we would have expected them to lose that game on Sunday. Now we're expecting them to win it, and that's where the anger comes from when they don't pull it out. It's because we're expecting them to. So with all this being said, as I just said, the expectations that the Cardinals should win these games, but they don't. So here's my summation. I've had a couple days to think about it. I'm recording this on Wednesday. I wanted to give it some time because if I would have come on right after that game, it would have just been Spew City, right? But here's my thoughts on it. Cardinals are an improved team. They are getting better. 2 years ago, they won 3 games. Last year, with Cliff and Murray's first time, 5-game wins. They're at 5 right now. They're going to win a couple more this year. Possibly 3 more. They are getting better. But they are way inconsistent. They haven't gotten over that proverbial hump yet. Meaning, they aren't winning the games that go bad for them. Like Sunday at the Patriots. The Dolphins game. Where they're in that game at the end. The good teams, like the Chiefs, win those games. The mediocre teams do not. Especially the bad teams do not. Like I said, second-year head coach, second-year quarterback. This team is improving, though. You cannot look at this team. And my example is, like I said, last year, when they would have lost that game to the Patriots, people wouldn't have been mad. They would have said, same old Cardinals. You're mad this year. You're mad about the Dolphins loss. You were mad about the Patriots loss. You're mad about the Lions loss because you expected them to win those games. And it makes you angry because you have expectations because we all see what this team can be. But they aren't there yet. It's frustrating. You want them to get over that. You want them to get there. I understand. That's why we're angry. But this is a good anger, guys. Because last year, you wouldn't have cared that they lost the game. You would have said, oh, same old Cardinals. I know. I did this podcast last year. They lost a lot of those games. You didn't get mad about it. Cardinals are going to get over this hump. You can see it. You can see how good this team is. We're just going to have to deal with these inconsistencies and these rage-filled, losses that they should win. And we're just going to have to deal with it because they're coming. They're going to have another one this year, maybe 2 more this year. But they are getting better. You can see the improvements. You can see them improving. So hang in there, Cardinals fans. Better days are coming. So this week, Week 13, the Cardinals. They come in, they host the Rams, the 7-4 Rams. Horrible loss last weekend to the 49ers the Rams had. But which Rams team will show up? The one that dominated the Buccaneers a week and a half ago on Monday Night Football in Tampa? Or the Rams team that didn't show up last week against the 49ers and lost? A last-second field goal to lose that game. Jared Goff, the Rams quarterback, is getting called out by his head coach, Sean McVay, for poor play and turnovers. Jared Goff isn't playing well right now. Rams defense is good, though, folks. So this game comes down to, is it easier for you to trust Kyler Murray in the Cardinals offense? Or do you trust the Rams offense a little bit better? I'm going to trust the Cardinals offense to rebound from that game on the Patriots on Sunday. Cardinals offense can put up points. We need Kyler Murray to be healthy and run the football. Can he do that? Lots of question marks on this game. If Kyler can't run, the Cardinals offense is going to be in serious, serious trouble. Because Kyler Murray is going to have to escape Aaron Darnold and that defensive line for the Rams. The Rams are ranked second in the NFL in defense right now. They're up there. Kyler Murray is going to have to escape that pass rush. That's going to inevitably get through that offensive line. The Cardinals defense has to get to Jared Goff. Have to force him into having another terrible game. Because he will have one if you get to him. So many question marks in this game. If Kyler Murray was 100% healthy, Cardinals are winning this game. Easy pick, no problem. He'll be able to outrun. The Rams will have to decide. Pass rush him and let him pick up yards running. Or don't pass rush him and he can pick you apart through the air. Right? But with his shoulder hurt and him not running, it changes the dynamic of it. Jared Goff looks like trash last week. Next week he's good. Can you count on Jared Goff to have a rebound game this week? I don't know. So looking into it here with all these question marks, all these differences, it comes down to what do you trust more? I trust Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury more than I trust Jared Goff in that offense. I trust them to have a rebound game to where they can come back, devise a plan to make it work and avoid that defense and get in there. I trust the Cardinals more than I trust the Rams. I think the Cardinals are going to squeak out a win this weekend. It's the first meeting in two that are coming up here for these two teams. Both teams are in the playoff hunt. Cardinals are barely hanging on to that 7th seed, the last spot. So a victory this weekend would be huge. A lot of implications. Cardinals do play up, and they do play down to their competition. We've seen that. Big game this weekend. I expect the Cardinals to play. Play hard. Play well. I think they win 24-23 this weekend. Cardinals will squeak this one out. I think they'll have the lead late, and the Rams will kind of make the comeback a little bit, but we'll just miss out. Hopefully it comes true here. Cardinals need a victory in a worse way here for the playoff hopes moving forward, and also going to 6-6 after their start on the season is just detrimental. People will be mad. They have some easy games coming up. So get this one in there. Get this win in there. Get to 7-5, and then let the chips play from there, right? So, again, thanks for watching. You can reach me at SMAC500, SMAC500 on Twitter. Of course, at the Main Event Pod is where this also gets posted on Twitter and Facebook. So definitely check it out. Follow it. We put the show notes for the podcast on there. And, of course, the video is available there on YouTube and then on all your podcast systems, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. So definitely give it a listen. Let me know what you guys think about this weekend. Who's going to win? What's going to happen? I'm always interested. A lot of good thoughts. I've had some people send me some messages that are like, I need to think about that a little bit, and we watch it. Want to know what you guys think about it. So let's get the Cardinals to rebound this weekend. Let's have a good weekend for the Cardinals. Let's go Cardinals.